my favorite client.
Yeah, your favorite client.
I've been waiting forever.
Forever.
No, but I invited you for this interview.
This is the first time you invited me.
Okay.
Yeah, I never heard of this interview before. All I see is you're interviewing everyone. And then I said, where's mine?
Okay, here is yours. But I want to talk to you not as a successful entrepreneur. I want to approach Luba as a person. Luba is a person who is trying to build something. I want you to tell your story in the sense that when other esthetician or any person who wants to become an entrepreneur understands what it takes to be involved in business.
Your soul.
Your soul. So can you explain to me how you came up with the idea of Bryght and how you understand that it will work?
I mean, we were already doing skin lightening services in the treatment room when I had wax. So we were doing that forever, for the longest time. So it came from like a demand of people asking for a product that didn't exist. So I was making like my own concoction based on the lines that I did carry on, like, well, I'll take a little bit of this product as an exfoliant and that this has bearberry in it. This product over here has licorice root. And we were doing our own internal anal bleaching out of a treatment room because there was no professional system. There was no professional product. There were retail items that you could sell the client. So that's where the idea came from. It was simply from clients coming in saying, this is a problem. Do you have something that'll fix it? That's where Bryght was really born. And it wasn't until years later that I thought, I can do this. And it took a long time for me to understand that I didn't need someone, that I actually had the idea and I had the recipes and I had the experience and all the, what do you call it? The data and the focus group. Like I had my own focus group in 2 different countries with my customers on what was working and what wasn't and what they wanted to see. And then I had a separate focus group that I didn't even know were my estheticians telling me, oh, this would work better with this, or why don't we try this? So I had everything in my backyard and I didn't know it. And I didn't have the confidence to move forward and try to do it myself. It was easier if I just kept it and I just did it. There wasn't a huge risk. There wasn't a huge investment. It was working for me and my clients at that time, you know, and then.
And it's quite normal because yesterday when I did convention, it's absolutely the same concept. They had already company. They saw the demand, the frequent asking question or demand of the consumer, and they added a product, and this product becomes an addition to this product. And at the same time, it's independent product.
Yeah.
So the same is with you.
Yeah.
So now you understand that there is a need. How do you find courage, finances, and what is the process to develop this product? Because it's absolutely different animal. Because you were a service provider. Now you are going into product.
Yeah. With anything, it's a huge risk, right? People usually think it's super easy. Even going back to the days of wax, I remember thinking very specifically, I have to mortgage my condo in order to build out these stores. And I remember being very specific that if this fails, I am only responsible for myself and I'm in my 20s, I will recover. I don't have a husband. I don't have children. The only mouth that I have to feed is my own. And if I lose everything, I'm going to be okay. And that's what it took. That's what it took for wax. And that's what it took for Bryght. Like taking out loans, borrowing money, mortgaging my home.
So you didn't look for finance, you just borrowed from the bank?
Yeah,
no partners, nothing?
No, I don't do well with partners. I'm an only child. I don't share very well in that aspect. So no partners. You know, I own the company 100%. I'm comfortable with that. But yeah, I mortgaged my house again and again and again.
What was the estimate to mix, to create the recipe, to find lab, to package? What was the main investment, like first investment,
Way over 6 figures.
from which you had a loan of what? How many percent? $80,000,
Oh yeah,
60,000.
50, 80, 100. I mean, right now I still have loans. I've got 3 outstanding loans right now. And then you throw in, a lawsuit during all of this too, which in that case, I had to sell my childhood home to pay for legal fees. So there's all these things with, people want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't see the hard stuff that comes up on a day to day. Just the other day, I just wrote a PO for $80,000 for bottles. For bottles. I don't even have the bottles and the bill is due. So it's all this extra inventory that you have to account for. It's the shows. The shows are due like almost a year in advance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start paying all the deposits and everything. You're not collecting any money. You are here and there, the orders are coming in, replenishment orders, stuff like that. But all that is out of pocket and you have to balance it.
Can you explain the difference between white labeling and you're making your own product?
So I get this question a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone calls and says they want a white label. So the best way to describe it is when you go to Costco and you pick up Kirkland ketchup, that it's actually Heinz ketchup in there, right? So Kirkland just puts their brand on it. That's white labeling. I know it as private labeling as well. We do not do that. So my formula is literally my recipe. I sit with my chemist. I am very specific on what goes in there. I need to make sure that all of the ingredients are completely vegan. There's no animal byproducts in it. When I talk to him about, I want to put a ceramide in it, I want to know what the weight of that ceramide is going in. For the cancer products, I needed to have a natural pain reliever. So I called them and I said, there needs to be marigold and chamomile in these products. Mm-hmm. So I'm highly involved in what goes in it. And then he puts it together on, okay, well, this is what you want. This is what we need to bond the ingredients together to make an actual formulation. So everything is done from scratch. We don't white label for anyone else, and we don't do any white labeling.
So your first 2 products were gel, Bryght gel and cleanser.
Yes.
From Bryght. So now you have these 2 products in your hand, or even when they are under development in lab. What are the actions of Luba to start building the brand? When Luba starts building the brand and what she does?
Oh my God, like by product?
Yeah.
So I usually come up with an idea. So I'll talk about strength and courage because that was, one of the ones that I recall so well because we were in the pandemic and I was undergoing cancer. So I never start with the name. I just start with what is the problem and how do I create a solution for it. So right away, I start to list out my ingredients and what I want it to do, right? So on one side, I have, it needs to be soothing. It needs to be a natural pain reliever. It needs to be natural. It needs to have this type of texture. It needs to work on these things. And then I work backwards from there on, okay, for this, it's going to have this ingredient. And I just go through like an entire ingredients list until it's perfect. And then I sit down with the chemist and he says, oh, why don't we add this, this, and this? Mm-hmm. And then I have to get him to explain, like, what does that actually do? Is it natural? Where is it being sourced from? What is the cost of this? And then we work through it that way. A lot of people will start with cost on, this is what I'm going to spend. Mm-hmm. What can we do from that? I work the opposite. I don't know if that's wrong or right. Sometimes it gets me in trouble because I was just talking to the owner of the lab yesterday and he told me one of our ingredients, it's about this big and it's about $22,000. So the other thing I started doing was purchasing my own raw materials that sits in the lab. So not only do I own the formula, but I own all of the ingredients as well because I was put in so many situations of people running out. Oh, no, we did a batch for, L'Oreal. I'm just going to throw it out there. And they took up that ingredient. So now, no more of that. I buy all the raw ingredients. I know what the inventory is. I know how much I can make.
So it means in your circle, money circle, there should be a very good amount of available money
There should be. There should be. But it's, here it is in bottles, here it is in raw ingredients, here it is in packaging, here it is in, boxes, and it's full. And then, from that process, then it starts the development of what is the bottle going to look like? Mm-hmm. How is the bottle going to operate? Is it going to be an airless pump? Is it going to be a regular push pump? Do we need to put this product inside of a box, or is it going to be a standalone?
When you develop your product, do you analyze the competition, or it comes strictly from the need of your consumer?
What competition?
Whoever is on the market who's offering something like that.
What competition?
There is no competition.
You know what? I'm all about staying in our lane and putting all of my energy in what we do and making it the best product. I feel that we have zero competition. I don't care who's out there. I don't care who's doing what. We are doing it amazingly. It shows in our results. It shows in the people that we have. It shows in our packaging. It shows the people that want to be involved with us. It shows our tribe. The people that have been to the shows, our lineup is insane. We have to turn people away all the time. When we put a post out there that we're hiring like a traveling Bryght babe, we're getting on average over 400 resumes a day. There is no competition.
Okay, not competition, but what's on the market already?
I think I'm always looking on what's on the market in everything. Like whether I'm going to go buy a mascara at Sephora after this. I'm going to, look at my choices on what I want. Mm-hmm. But as far as like, I have an idea for a product, let me research what else is out there. No.
You don't do that?
No.
You just trust your gut and you go?
I do. I come up with ideas all the time when I'm driving. Mm-hmm. Like Block. Block came up while I was driving. And that's like when you open up our products, right? When you take the 2 items out, the sunscreens out, it says, block your ex, block toxic people, block, like that was all while I was driving. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to pull over and write this down. As an entrepreneur, you're working all the time. I
really like your explicit verbiage in your products, because now you need to communicate, right? You need to communicate that product to the consumer. Yeah. And of course, the reaction can be different.
Oh, that was my whole life. Like, that's why things didn't work out for me in corporate. Because my boss was like, oh, Luba, come into the office again. You put a man on the cover of this magazine. This has never been done before. You need to roll it in, stay inside the box. That's all they ever said to me. Stay inside the box. Let the competitor do it first. If it works for them, then we can try it. And I said, but we're in cosmetics. If you let the competition do it first, you're dead. You're dead in the water. You have to be first to market. I was told you dress up too much. You intimidate people but with the way that you dress. I said, our people in this business are not dressing up enough. We don't look serious going into these classes and these seminars. Corporate did not agree with me. They held me back so much. And what didn't make any sense to me was my numbers were double-digit increases all the time. So it was working, but they just didn't like the content that was being put out there. So now I have a platform of, I don't report to anyone. I get to make the decisions. If I fall flat on my face, that's on me. If I want to put something in a marketing campaign that's offensive to someone else, suck a dick, I don't care.
What are the elements of good communication when I need to explain to people what I'm all about, like on social media, to make that first impression, to get the traffic? What are the elements?
You have to be authentic and you have to show them everything. And this is from, maybe appearing on camera with no makeup. This is maybe appearing on camera with maybe not a fun, happy story, but a life story. People need to relate to you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why people relate to Bryght so much, because we show them the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's very easy to show the good stuff. They don't see that we're cleaning up jars that bursted, hours before a show. They didn't know about, a $2 million lawsuit that went for 2.5 years in a state that I was asked not to enter. When you start sharing your personal life with people, they have more of a connection because it becomes more real. because
human,
no
more
one's
human.
life is perfect,
Mhm.
right? And they don't want that. Who wants that? They want to be able to connect to you on a human level. It's like that when people come into our classes, right? With the classes, we say there's no in and outs. We're the only people. So I literally kidnap people for the hour. But I say to them at the beginning, like, I'm asking for an hour of your time.
Mhm.
It's not you have to be here for an hour. If you can't stay for an hour of your time,
Mhm.
you can leave. Like, now's the time to leave. Come back when you can. But I just need you to connect with me and my team for 1 hour so you know the entire story about the brand, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Because people need to start thinking about what they're putting on their shelves and what energy that stuff carries. It's the same thing people say, get rid of toxic people. Well, what about the products on your shelf that you're representing? That has an energy. What is the culture of that product? What is the brand of that product? What are the values of that product? Who stands behind that product? Do you see them?
You make it so serious, so personal.
But it is.
Because me as a consumer, I don't buy based on human resources, right? But you are talking about B2B because you're selling B2B a lot. That's your main clientele.
Yeah, B2B, but also, like, talking about the products that that B2B carries on their shelves that is going to a B2C, right? Like, what is that brand? Who is that brand? We're so educated as consumers today,
Exactly.
right? We have all the information at our fingertips. Who do you want to support? Who do you want to represent? And I think the B2B, I can relate with the B2B because I was that salon owner for so many years. And I was told by so many brands, like, we can't give you any training because you didn't buy enough. You didn't sell enough this year. Even though they were driving right past my store to a bigger account, I was like, you can't just come in and give me like a 30-second pitch to like get my team excited. No, we can't do that. There's too many opportunities now. So figure out who you want to align yourself with. And I always say too, like, find out who is behind the brand. Like, don't you find it interesting if you go on a website and there's nothing about the founder? There's no phone number to contact. There's no email. There's no customer service.
I had that conversation yesterday with a startup at the show because all they have is like product pictures. And I said, you can't do that anymore. You have to be present.
You do. And you can't just send someone. This is why we have our traveling Bryght babes, our customers. Or as some people have told me, why did you hire the competition? They're your competitor. You had a waxing salon. They're doing the same services. That's not the way that I look at it. The way that I look at it is I cannot pay for that advertising, for them to speak from the heart, how it's changing their business, their lives, and the lives of their clients and the results that they're getting.
And every day when you scroll through Bryght stories, you see your clients are posting for you.
Yeah.
And it works so awesome.
They're obsessed, and we're obsessed with them. Like, we've created this amazing culture, right? Like, my heart beats for this business.
And I really like that the minute you launch the product, you're like, let's go, let's do tutorials. Let's do tutorials.
Yeah, and I mean, and I was sick when I launched the brand. I think a lot of people don't know that. But I was sick with breast cancer when all this was launching. The photo shoot that you did, the first brand shoot, was done in Vegas during the pandemic, and I was on Zoom, FaceTime, Zoom, directing from my chair while I just had chemo the day before. This is the stuff people don't talk about. And this is what I talk about, like, what is the culture and what's behind a brand? There has to be love behind a brand. Anyone can come up with an idea to make money, right? And we talk about it in our seminars, like, I'm not coming after men because we love our men, but so many brands are owned by men or run by men. And that's my personal experience from corporate as well, right? If I was meeting with the president of CoverGirl, Revlon, men. If I was meeting with the president of Chanel, Givenchy, men. It was all run by men. And not all of them, but some of them look like.
But why is it so dominant, you think?
Why?
Because they're considered a money maker?
Yeah, I think that maybe sometimes as women, we have more of an emotional aspect to it. Like I'm here sitting here telling you like, what sort of energy does the brand carry on your shelf? You think a man would say that? No, he would be sitting here talking about profit margin. And if you sell this, this is how much you can make, which we do that part of the business as well, because we want you to make money. But they don't get into the emotional side of it. And that's when it doesn't have a heartbeat. Right? And also these men, like, are they really using their own products? They're using a 3-in-1 shampoo and you can tell. The men that are using skincare and that are in the business, you can tell that they're using their skincare and that they're present and that they're there. So something I say to the estheticians, like when you go out on the show floor today, ask to meet the owner. Ask if the owner is here. Are they present? Anywhere on their website, does it talk about their experience in the industry? Or are they just some man in a warehouse that came up with an idea?
So you are all about building that culture, strong image, and be completely involved with the brand.
Completely. And full transparency.
Even if it's a big corporation?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is where it gets a little bit more, what's the word I want to use? It's harder because you're going to have more cooks in the kitchen, right? On what we should say, what we shouldn't say. Oh, this probably doesn't look good. And that will be a decision later on that will be a topic of conversation, I'm sure, because I'll always want to come through a place of transparency. Let's put it this way. When I have meetings with my team, and it's mostly on Zoom because we're all kind of spread out throughout the country, I always think about that the client is sitting next to me in these meetings. What can I say and what would I not want to share? Because everything that I share to my team about the brand and the ideas and the transparency,
copy paste.
I should be able to say the same thing with that client sitting next to me.
Because now these people gonna share the message that you share, so it's copy paste. Because I see you now growing, because you started from the garage, basically, from your home, right?
Yeah.
You and Becca. Now, over the period of 2-3 years, you are getting more people into your team, and how much you are involved now in the team. That's back to the question, if it's a corporation now, and you are insisting that the person who is the head should be involved, how much you are planning to be involved?
That's a very good question. So when we did our retreat in Mexico.
Wait, because when we start something and we are here in the bottom, and you say, one day,
Yeah.
we are all going to that one day when we can relax and enjoy.
Yeah, of course. I think it all kind of started for me when we did the retreat in Mexico. And we had that morning table discussion about, what does everyone think Bryght is? And where do you see Bryght in the future? How do you see how you fit into, like, everyone put all of their dreams on that one table that day, all written out. And one of the things that I said was, I would like to start working more on the business and not be so much in the business. And that was a big learning opportunity for me through the waxing salons, because I was in the business because I had to be. And when I say that, like, I was being the receptionist at the front desk, I was being the accountant. There was a lot going on. And when you're in the business, you can't be on the business as much as you should. So now that I have an amazing team, I can pass a lot of that stuff off to them to work on and know that it's going to get done because of the relationship I have with them, because of the type of people that they are, their experience, their passion for the business, and I can work on the business and not so much in the business.
How do you select people in your team? What's the main criteria for you?
Wow.
And I know that they are from all other industries. They are not just estheticians.
No, I know.
I know that they have different background, different position, different states, ethnicity. it should be on personal level for you. I feel like.
It is.
What's your criteria?
And everyone's going to roll their eyes when I say this. It is a gut feeling. It is a gut feeling. I know I have hired people that have come in with the most amazing resume. They looked polished. They had all the experience. Their resume reads perfectly. And I'm sitting interviewing, and I'm thinking about someone specific. I'm sitting and interviewing saying, what is wrong? Like, what is wrong here? Something doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. I hired her. It was a complete disaster. And the only thing that I could come back to was I didn't listen to my gut. And that if people can come with everything that is perfect, complete perfection to your face on the piece of paper and work for you for, quite some time even. And, you're like, I knew I made the right decision. Oh, what was that feeling that I had? Look at her. She's thriving. The customers love her, everything. But when it ended very badly. And it ended badly quite quickly. It wasn't a long time. So I always say, we will go for coffee with our best friends and we will ask them for advice. And your best friend gives you advice and we take it. But when our true best friend that lives inside of us, our gut, is saying, no, something's not right here, we suppress her all the time because what we see is not what we feel. And we second guess ourselves and we move on. And I guarantee if you think about those times, you will be like, oh, I had a bad feeling and I didn't know why. We need to start listening to our own best friend that lives within us. From your gut, that's how I select people.
So you would always interview people by yourself?
So for the traveling Bryght babes, I do not do any of the interviews. That's done by my team because I have selected my top people. They know what my expectation is. They know how I work. They know what I want the company to be. And then they take that culture and they do that interview.
And for you nowadays, what's easier, that Luba who was running Wax or Luba who is running Bryght?
I mean, they were two separate people, completely. And, if we're going to be completely honest and transparent, I was very unhappy running Wax for quite a few years. It stopped serving me. It stopped fulfilling me. I found the people that were attracted to work there didn't want to grow. Mm-hmm. And I have a big fault in seeing the potential in people and really wanting to push them so they can be successful. And what I need to realize is not everyone wants that. Not everyone wants success or a career or their own business. And sometimes I put that on people too often, right? And then when someone doesn't want that and you don't see the results, then I would become frustrated or disappointed. Right? Like my therapist always said, stop having expectations of people because you always end up right back here in my chair telling me that you're disappointed. But I'm cut from a cloth of why wouldn't you want to succeed? Why wouldn't you want to be successful? Why wouldn't you want to take your daughter to Disneyland? Why wouldn't you want to do more? But some people are okay with just coming in and clocking out. I'm not that person, and it takes a lot for me to try to understand that person. The people that I've aligned myself with in Bryght, they all want more. They all want more in their life.
That's what I'm thinking, that it's absolutely different persona now in Bryght, because starting with, they were already whether leaders in the company or business owners.
Yes, yeah. So I think they probably went through very similarities of what I was going through. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are all independent business owners. So what does that tell you? They were at a place that they were unhappy and started their own business, right? Also, like my corporate team, the corporate team, management team, leadership team, they all come with more people experience. While with Wax, I was getting more people right out of school. Mm-hmm. And I also think too, the schools, they're selling these women a dream, right? People would come interview with me and they're like, okay, so I'm planning on making 6 figures. You haven't even waxed one vagina in school. tell me how you see making six figures in this. Well, that's what my teacher told me. So they're being sold a dream and then coming and then being disappointed when I say this is the reality and the expectation. Can you get there? Absolutely. But it's going to take a few years.
To get there, what would that person need to be doing?
You need to be committed. You have to show up. And that's showing up early, staying late, calling clients, getting your own clients through any means, right? Like I used to leave business cards in billfolds when I would go out for lunch or dinner, promoting your own social media. This is where I'm working. Asking the owner, hey, can I do like a maybe 10% off if I bring people in?
So
It is running your business within someone else's business. And then what I would tell the girls all the time, learn from me. You know, be honest with me. Do you want to be a business owner? And a lot of the girls would say, well, I do. They're scared to tell you because they're going to think that you don't want them there because they're going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I always said, okay, if you want to be a business owner, let's get you there. There's lots to learn. I have 16 years of experience I can help you with, but stay here, build your clientele, learn what to do, what not to do, and then go out on your own. Because entrepreneurship, that's the loneliest place in the world. When you're by yourself, you don't have anyone you can go talk to.
So let's talk about that moment, because you said that you've seen your therapist.
Yeah.
And those visits are quite often. So a certain part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find that balance? Because I'm facing that loneliness in my journey. We all do.
I mean, I said this the other day on social media. Go find friends that are business owners. They're the only ones that are going to understand. You could have a great partner at home. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it if they're working for someone else. You know, they'll be supportive for you and listen to you, but they're not going to get it. The best thing to do is find other friends that are business owners. I mean, I was just with a very, very, very successful business owner 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that he was telling me, I was shocked. Because, you know, when I'm on calls with him and when we're in meetings, he's happy, he's motivating his team, he's got a lot of money, he's successful, he's traveling. But all the shit he was talking to me about is the same shit that I deal with. And that you can't have those conversations with your employees. No matter who they are, they're your right hand, they're not going to get it. Entrepreneurship is a completely different animal.
So what goes through your mind when you're in your bottom? How you pull yourself out from there?
So I usually...
What do you fight with? Anger? Or where do you find that balance or joy? How you put yourself back?
I used to fight with anger a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be very, very angry about things.
About yourself or other people?
Other people. And then I fight with disappointment all the time. And then I fight with sadness sometimes because it always goes back to me on like, maybe this is a me problem. Maybe I'm not a good leader.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not doing things right. You know, what's happening here? But I give myself this rule of, I'll give myself like the morning or a few hours to feel sorry for myself, to cry, to write down.
You do cry?
Yeah, I cry all the time. Oh my God, I'm surprised I haven't cried in this interview yet. Someone said the other day, like, oh, every time I see Luba, she's crying. I'm just going to blame it on the chemopause, medical induced menopause. Because I never used to cry ever. And now I'm like very emotional, but what were we talking about? This struggling of, so I give myself the grace of sitting with my morning coffee, listening to, you know, motivation things on YouTube. Like I listen to a lot of like Oprah's motivation, Sarah Blakely's motivation, or just any sort of morning meditation. Get through the day, pick yourself up and be done with it. Don't sit in it. And then surround yourself with good people.
Do you communicate with your family? I know that your family is gone.
Yeah.
Do you communicate with them? Oh my
God. Yes. All the time. I talk to my mom all the time. And then I find when big decisions are to be made, or I've just made a big decision, I see a lot of angel numbers around. So I see 11111, 44444. Those are the main numbers that I see all the time after big decisions or if something big is coming.
It's easier when like you are surrounded with family members. There are parents, grandparents, children around. You are completely on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can go local.
Yeah. And I think too, this is sometimes why I'm more of a emotional person, because I have no family, zero, no siblings, no aunts, no uncles, no parents, nothing, not even a cousin, nothing. And I think this is why I get very emotional, or sometimes I get disappointed or frustrated within my company, because that's my family,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those girls are my family.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you would do therapy, meditation. What else? What else works for you?
Working out when I'm committed to it. I feel way better when I work out. I manifest a lot. I've got a full journal, like planner on, 1 to 3 to 5 years and where I want to be. Yeah, the power of a positive mind. I also have an amazing spiritual Japanese healer that I see. And I mean, his English is so broken that I don't even really know what's happening. I just know that I feel good when I leave. I know that he was a big part of me getting through cancer. And that's part of my routine. When I do those beauty shows, because it takes so much out of you energy-wise, you've got so much energy happening. I see him immediately after a show or just before I go into a show to do like a full cleanse of my energy, so I am ready. Our team, we have morning meditation every morning before we go in. The president of Questex asked to have a meeting with me, and I responded with, "I'm not available. I will be in morning meditation." Who does that? But that's how important it is to get our mind straight.
Mm-hmm. But even with a straight mind, certain technical problems are not going away. You still need to finish certain tasks that you are failing, or you failed yesterday to finish. Something is happening that you can't put 2 and 2 together. What's the solution? How you do that?
I think the solution is to stay calm, not to make any rash decisions that you might regret later. I sit on things for a while, like if I don't quite understand it, I need a day to kind of talk it through in my head, weigh out the pros and cons, and come out with a solution from there. There is nothing that we are doing in this beauty industry that is life and death. Things can work. There's a solution to everything. It's lipstick. It's not brain surgery. Mm-hmm. We take ourselves too seriously. Like everything is the end of the world over the smallest little things. And when you go through an illness, like I went through cancer, like that's something that comes up, like I'm healthy, I'm happy.
I was very impressed how you handled the trade show in Miami, when flights were canceled, when something always happening. And me, because when I come to trade shows, I never had any picture in front of me how everything gets ready. But when I see you every time you go to trade show with you or any vendor, you see that something can go wrong.
And this is why we need a reality show for a trade show. This is why we need a reality show for this, because as a consumer that's going into these, you just see like the beauty of the booths and the people, and everything is all there for you and everything is working. They don't see any of that stuff in the background. In Miami, I had dental surgery hours before the show. Like my face was swollen out to here.
It's funny, but not funny. Was that picture when you sent me picture that morning?
I had a meeting with the mayor. I had a meeting with my lawyers. We were filming a whole like reality episode on that whole thing. I lost my voice, but the show must go on.
So for me, it was very surprising. It was a very good example. You were my very good example of how it can be handled.
You just have to push through it. And I think that's what makes an entrepreneur. Like there is no choice of saying, no, I can't do this. I'm calling out sick. And you have to show up for your team. Like, what would it have looked like if I was like, oh, no, my face is swollen. I just had surgery. I'm not going to be able to make the show. No, like my expectation is that they are there and they're pushing through. That expectation is tenfold for me.
And since I was raised in Ukraine, and social standards were that a woman is under the man. So I tend to lean on man's shoulder or to be under the man. And with you, I see that you are the man. But I contradict myself. I want to be a woman, but I want to run my business, because you can't hide behind someone when you are the leader. You should be upfront.
You know, it's funny that you say that, because when I was in my corporate days, I said it was all men, right? And I was good friends with another buyer in the same industry as me. So, you know, we would talk back and forth, and there was obviously deals being made between different companies that, you know, you weren't really supposed to be privy of. And I had this one deal that came across the table. And I was sitting with my boss, who was a man, and I was sitting with this vendor, the president of this company. And he made the offer of he was going to give it to us for this price for the cover of the magazine. And it was a new launch of this great new beauty product. And he passed the paper over to me and he said, this is your price. And I already knew what the price was for the other company, because I had just had dinner with her recently. And I looked at it and I said to him, so if I had a dick, would this deal be different? And my boss was so upset, like so nervous. And I was like, no, would this deal be different if I had a dick? Because I'm pretty sure that it would be. Right. I was just with my lawyer last night for dinner, and we were talking about one of these deals that we've just done. And I said to her, can I speak freely? And she said, sure. And I said, when I called so-and-so about this deal specifically, he was such a dick. And the way that he spoke to me was insulting, to the point that I said, you know what? We'll say his name is Craig. You know what, Craig? If I was a man, would you speak to me this way? Would we be having this conversation if I was a man? Because I don't think so. I think I was supposed to be born a man.
So what's the solution? To think like a man but drive as a woman? Or
I think the solution is to speak your mind. Like if you're in maybe, you know, speaking it to the extent that I do is a little bit harsh. Standing up for yourself, standing up for what you believe in, no matter how stupid they try to make you feel. Push through that. If you believe it, again, listen to your best friend, listen to your gut, push through it, speak your mind, do what you want to do. It will always work out for you. And then never feel that you need to take the emotion out of the business when it comes to connecting with your customers or your team, because that's where I think men fail.
But do you, as a woman, do you feel like you are a man in business, or you don't look at it as male or female? You just know that you do something right, everybody's equal, and you just push for your top?
Yeah, I just do what I do, but I know that I have like a lot of masculine energy. My therapist tells me that too all the time. Like I have to bring out the softer side sometimes, especially when it comes to like my personal relationship.
Because it's also another type of skill to balance, because at work you are one person, at home man wants you to switch to another woman, but you are bringing your man to your work also.
I know.
His security.
I know. He's got like this big director's role at a huge company, and people are like, excuse me, sir, will you take a photo of us?
So how you are balancing this woman-man?
In my personal relationship? Or in...
business, personal. It's all in your scenario, it's all one. Because as you said, that your business is everything you have. Your business is your family.
Yeah.
So, and your husband now, it's part of the family
Mhm.
here and here in both fields.
Again, I think it's just coming from a place of what you believe in your gut and being authentic in that way. I mean, one of the things that sticks out to me with this was when I trademarked my name. I was doing it with a potential partner of another line we were going to do way, way long ago. And he had the best trademark attorney in Canada, and this is not going to be an issue. And it came back rejected. And I thought, no, this is my name. No, don't like this. So I, with the help of Jake, wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of Canada. And I disputed that I should have this trademark because of X, Y, Z, all of these reasons. And I had a meeting with my new potential partner and his fancy lawyer. And Olena, they laughed at me. And I remember being in that room and feeling like if there is just a hole that would open up, I would jump in it. And I just wanted it to like shut, and I just wanted to be gone. I have never was made to feel so small in my life.
Why they were laughing?
You wrote the Prime Minister? It'd be like you writing the president, right? Like the Prime Minister of Canada. And they just laughed. And, and he was going on about, he's the best trademark lawyer, this and that. We couldn't get it. And within a few weeks, I got a phone call from the Prime Minister's secretary saying, we've received your letter. It is under review. Someone will get back to you. And in less than 2 weeks after that, I had the trademark. So I sent him that letter and I said, where shall I send my legal fees to? Where would you like me to send my invoice? Trademark's done. So
no more partner.
Yeah. This is why I don't do partners. But again, like coming from a place of this is what I believed. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I manifested. This is what I wrote down. This is what was important to me. Just because someone said no, I knew that there was a different avenue to at least try to pursue it. But I had two men, educated men, because I don't have an education, that were looking down on me saying, you wrote a letter to the Prime. Good luck. Okay, sweetie. Okay, sweetie.
So can you tell me about a few episodes of your resistance, of you being a rebel in the industry?
Oh my God, my whole life. Oh, okay, so I put David Beckham on the cover of one of our magazines, which, oh my God, that was the worst thing ever, because a man has never been on the cover of a magazine, or one of our magazines. And I said, but he's just launched a fragrance. He's on the Toronto soccer team, and they're playing in Toronto the day that the magazine launches. Third, fourth, fifth reason, every woman walking into the store wants to pick up that magazine because he's hot.
Yes.
But that was a big, got pulled into the office on that one. I made Christmas too sexy. I didn't want to do the traditional red, green, and white. My magazine was lace, black, hot pink. It was a sexy Christmas. We had a pink Christmas tree. Oh my God, pulled into the office for that. And they kept telling me, our average customer, her name is Fran, and she's 49 years old, and I was like, no, she's not. I'm your customer. I'm your customer. But you're not, your sales are low because you're not feeding me. You're not putting the products in there that I would buy. You're sending me to the competition because you don't know who your customer is. You think you know. And also, it was a boardroom of men that decided who this person was. They didn't know.
So who is the customer in Bryght?
Everyone. This is, head to toe and down below. Yeah, we push the anal bleach, but there is no model for Bryght. There is no race. There is no sex. It is for every body part. You look at our images and we have women that are voluptuous and curvy, you can see their stretch marks. Next ad we have is maybe a Chippendale with a six-pack. The next ad we have is a woman with a double mastectomy with her fingers up saying, fuck you, cancer. It's for absolutely everyone. Children can use, our sunscreen. They can use strength for sunburns or just body lotion. Like, it is absolutely for everyone.
So how Luba expresses freedom with Bryght that she couldn't incorporate?
I feel that I allow my team to be who they are. So, you know what? If they're going to come in with purple hair, they can have purple hair. I'll never ask you to hide a tattoo. And I know people are probably listening to this being like, oh, you're hide a tattoo. Who are you? But that's what I grew up with, right? You weren't allowed to show tattoos. You couldn't have any facial piercings. You couldn't have a hair color that wasn't normal. I mean, Olena, I let them go around in our branded shirts that say, I love anal bleach. I used to work for assholes. Now I just bleach them. That was the first uniform t-shirt I sent to my old boss when I left corporate. And I wrote in his card, how is this for staying inside the box? Like, I don't know. I just never fit in. And I was thinking the other day, all of the stuff that I'm doing with Bryght is like stuff that I wanted to do in corporate. Obviously not to and I was never going to probably bring them anal bleach, but I wanted our ads to be sexy and I wanted them to be fun and I wanted to show skin and I wanted to have hard conversations about cosmetics. My mom said to me something when she took me to the Ukraine and she took me to the cosmetichka, right? Which is like an esthetician. And she said to me, this woman is going to teach you how to take care of your skin and not how to hide your skin. And that, I think, is a big issue that we have in North America is everyone, TikTok, ads, wherever, is showing you how to hide your skin and hide your flaws and cover that pimple. No one teaches you the proper ingredients and the proper routine with the proper products on how to treat the skin. Let's get the skin healthy. Let's not just slap a whole bunch of chemicals on it to make it look good.
You are very, very explicit with your images, your verbiage, your message. And you're not scared. And
No.
you have no limits.
No. I don't care what people think. I mean, I've been laughed at my whole life. My whole life, all through, I probably didn't do well in school because it was just an awful place to go. Kids didn't like me. I didn't fit in. I grew up in a very small town. They were all cowboys. And then you have a girl with red hair. Her name is Luba, and she lives with her grandparents because my parents were so much older. And they were immigrants. Their English was broken. I lived on a farm on the opposite side of the tracks, which was, the other side of the tracks. People were saying that I was poor. School was not good to me. Small town life was not good to me.
Do you think it's one of the reasons of your success? The other day I did interview of 7 times world champion of Sambo boxing. And she said that she started taking boxing because she wanted to protect herself because she was abused as a child. You think your childhood has to do something with your character today?
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing more than I wanted than to leave that town and never come back. Ever. I to the point where when I had to go back to move my mom, I was physically ill when I drove into that town. I wanted out. I didn't even go to my graduation party. I left for Europe.
But now Luba has to make adjustments to the big city, and now she runs big cities. And she meets mayors in Miami.
Meet mayors, yeah. Maybe that'll be my goal. Maybe I'll go meet every mayor in every show that we do. I know. I love my parents, and I love how I was raised. Some may say that it was, abusive. My mom did the best that she could with what she was given, but it also gave me the drive to look at their lives and say, I don't want this. I want better for me. I don't want to be a cleaning lady. I will have a cleaning lady. Which to that response, my mom was like, okay, you let me know when that happens.
That's cool. Very good results. So overall, where Bryght is going within 2-3 years.
You're going to see us in your face with our crazy campaigns. You're going to see us screaming anal bleach from the rooftops. There is no limit. I am so open to everything that the universe is going to provide us. We've got distribution happening all around the world now. Even with just the people that we meet.
Why did you select a trade show as part of your strategy?
It's what I know. It's what I know from the industry, and I'm excited to learn from other people in the industry or even outside of other avenues that I probably haven't even thought of or explored. This is just something that I knew because I've been in it for 16 years. But, there's a whole other world that I lived in mass retailing that I haven't even looked at. And I'm excited for Strength and Courage, the Cancer Compassionate line, to really start to do something with that. That really has been on the back burner because that was a product that I made for myself personally. It was never supposed to launch, but the products were so good in their results that the doctors were saying, oh my God, what is this? What are you using? Your skin should not look like this. It should feel like sandpaper. It should be completely blackened. And that's when I knew I need to bring this to market. If this helped me, this was my calling. This was my experience. This is the reason that I got cancer, is to help other people. So I'm excited to see what I can do with that now that I'm freed of, having that other business.
And now it comes to working on a business, not in the business. Because we as solopreneurs, we are so much into operations that we don't have time to breathe, to think, to understand, to get inspiration, or even to have time to execute, because we are so buried in the process.
And that's where you have to find the right people to work alongside with you, that they will give you that space to take things over so you can work on the bigger parts. A business can't grow if the leader is constantly in the business. I mean, I was literally told this next trade show, don't show up for setup. I stress them out. I boss everyone around. I'm highly unorganized, no matter what you might think. I am highly unorganized. And I probably just make more work for them and more stress for them. And I hear it, like, because everything goes wrong at the beginning of a trade show. There's always something, right? And I'll hear these whispers like, oh my God, the booth. Oh my, hey, Jake, don't show Luba. Do you know where she is? Right? So like, it's not healthy for me to be there. And, one of my new goals is now I want to go out and I want to visit accounts, because I was that person where I was told, you're not spending enough money. We can't come see you. So now I go in, I either try to book services with service providers that carry Bryght. Sometimes I just go in and I surprise them with coffee, answer questions, look at the product on the shelf. Like, this is what I mean about
relationship.
A brand has a voice and a culture. What do you have on your shelf? Does an owner ever come to visit you? Did they care? Did they care to see your business and learn about your staff and your employees and, your setup?
So you are very much interpersonal relationship.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's how, I got into my corporate career. I climbed the corporate ladder so quickly. I was running the entire country at 25. And I started as a part-time cashier making $5.25 an hour. And within that company, I just, I moved.
Oh, wow.
I moved and I worked and I met people and I remembered people's names and I called and I would not give up. When that job came up as regional director, I mean, these are the days of you had to fax your resume in. And I would call the receptionist at the front desk every day and say, hi, Kathy, did you see my resume come through? Yes, Luba, it's here. Okay, would you mind maybe putting it on top of the CEO's file? Like those are the things that I used to do. And you have to be humbled and you have to take away the ego, because ego will kill everything. When you think you're too good for something, So many opportunities pass you by.
It's not there yet.
No.
Continue knocking.
To the point where they're annoyed with you and they're just going to give it to you. I mean, that's what happened with the Chippendales agreement. Like, I went so much to try to get this partnership agreement with them that finally the manager threw her hands up. Okay, you know what? I am tired of you coming in here. Let's just try it. We'll see how it goes. Here we are, over a decade later.
And what do you do with your mind not to be scared? Because big money, big contracts, big names, big responsibilities scare people, and they don't even think that level.
I still feel like that. I was at dinner the other night with 7 men and just me. Big investors on an industry that I don't understand. So number one, I'm feeling like really out of it because I don't understand this industry whatsoever. The money that they were talking about, the investments that they were talking about. And, you know, there was like a moment where I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I belong at this table. And that young 20-year-old came out again, you know, being pulled into the office, being told, no, this is not going to work. But then I did a couple breathing exercises there, not to the point that they thought I was crazy, but, you know, like in through my nose, out through my mouth. And I just sat back and I thought, I am running a very successful business in a country that I'm not from. They're all American. They didn't have to go through like the process of sleeping in their cars, doing this. And it was just, I validated for myself that I bring something to this table. I am here for a reason. I can engage in this conversation. Doesn't matter that they have a degree and I don't. And I just had to give myself that reminder. But of course I go through those moments of, I don't belong here. And you know, Olena, you and I, we've talked about this with our upbringing, right? Like my mother was so like, well, he's a doctor. You can't talk. He's too busy. So people with education were always put on this pedestal. But people with no education have also become very, very successful.
Nowadays, yeah, everything is possible.
So it's just really like reminding yourself that you do have a seat there. And everything does happen for a reason. So there was a reason that I was in that meeting the other day. Whatever was going to happen from that, but not to make myself smaller because I'm a woman or because I don't have an education or that I don't understand their industry.
That's when you were invited. You come to the table by the the invitation. You still degrade yourself.
I did a little bit. And then once the conversation started to open up a little bit and they were like fascinated, like, oh, you're here on a work visa. You mortgaged your home to come to, you opened your business in the recession. And that's when I was like, okay, these are the things that I need to remind myself because those are challenges that they didn't even have to try to overcome. And I did. And that's why I'm here.
Okay, Luba, finalize. How we finalize? Give me a good speech to the women.
Oh my God, Olena. My final words of advice to women is to look within yourself. Don't care about what the outside world is saying or thinking. Listen to your best friend, your gut. Listen to her. Stop suppressing her. She's your best friend for a reason. Give yourself some grace. Sit in silence and write everything down. Unless it's written down, it's only an idea. It only becomes a goal until it is written down, and review those goals constantly.
Perfect.
Everything's possible.
Everything is possible. You amaze me how in short period of time you gain from zero to millions. 0 to millions in 4 years. Not complete zero. Of course, you had a very good base, but we are talking about Bryght.
We're talking zero. There were no clients. We started with 0 followers, 0 money, no warehouse, 0 employees. There wasn't one employee. Not one. You know, Becca worked on it part-time while she was working as a receptionist at Wax.
That's crazy.
And here we are today.
4 years, millions, contracts, invitations. And that's because of
Persistence. Persistence, belief, drive, and not taking no for an answer. And sticking to your guns, right? Like so many people say like, oh, well, we should do this for that customer, or this distributor wants to do this, or maybe we should discount the brand. No. When you believe in something, you stick to your guns on that. I don't care what anyone else is doing. I don't care that other people are saying, oh, no, you're allowed to like leave the classes. No, my rule is I get you for 1 hour. If you can't stay for 1 hour, please leave, no judgment. These are my rules. I don't care that it's never been done before.
Mhm.
These are my rules. And I get to do that as the business hour or as the business owner. It works for me. Why it doesn't work for you? Probably because no one's tried it or it's never been done before. Find your why. If you don't try it, how do you find your why?
I like you are brave, you have your ideas, you have your rules. So it's work with yourself, basically. Start working with yourself, right?
And
Stop.
what you believe in. Like there is something in you that is telling you to do something. But we change our minds all the time because, oh, no one else is doing it. It's never been done before.
Or not enough money, or not enough time. There is always an excuse.
There's always a way. And, you know, I came to this country for a reason, for opportunity. There's always a way to find money, find help, find support. That's a poor excuse. Of course, I would like to have more money to do bigger things. And I might have to wait for a little while, but that's not a no. That's a just not right now. These excuses of things not happening fast enough or I don't know anyone. No, I came from a small town. I didn't know anyone. And if I can be sitting with the mayor of Miami Beach, so can you. You just got to want it. And you got to put the ego aside.
She was sitting with the mayor of Miami Beach. And not only him.
No. I mean, anything can be done. But we have this whole thing of we want it now, we want it fast. I deserve it. That's the shitty attitude that will take you nowhere. Right? I wanted to come from a place of this is my journey. This is how it's going to go. Who wants to come along?
That's a good one.
You're either in or you're out. This is how it's going to be. No publicity is bad publicity. You know, you can say what you want. I'm sure I've been called worse.
Very simple.
Right? Guys, I can't remember. Someone said the other day, like, well, she can be a real bitch. I said, I'll take that. I've been called worse. And if that is what you think when you hear me speak or, you know, come across me, if that's what you think, like that's on you. That's your own internal demons that you need to deal with. Right? I'm not living for anyone else. I'm living for me, and this is my second life because I got to beat cancer. So I'm living my life completely the way that I want to, even more than before. So watch out, world.
Quite more.
Watch out, world.
Quite more. I really like how it shifted, and your speed, your direction, your values, everything is progressive so much. And I really like that you get the people around you.
That's the best part.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part. And their energy that they bring and who they are. Yeah. Don't fuck with the Bryght babes.
Those people that are trying, willing to put work, but they just don't know. Maybe they're lacking education, or they're lacking team, or they're lacking strategy, or self-doubt. What things that they should be focusing on to put it together and to get good results?
Well, one, they need to know the business that they're in, inside and out. Right? And everything is available now that you can research everything at your fingertips. They need to know everything inside and out about their brand, their business, and what they want it to do. What is the end goal? What do you want at the end of this?
What do you mean, like which customers to serve, what will be the culture of your brand, what will be your
Yeah.
messages,
What do you want?
how much money you want to make.
Yeah. What do you want to do? Do you want to partner with companies? What kind of employees do you want to have? What do you want to offer those employees? Just a place to work, or do you want to offer them education? Do you want them to be part of your company in the end? Like the bigger picture of what you want, not I want to be rich and famous, I want to make a lot of money. This goes back to my idea of
details.
like the man in the warehouse. What do you want? What's important at the end of the day? What lights a fire in your belly to get yourself up in the morning and want to come to work? Those are the things to think about.
So you were writing down everything on the paper?
Everything. Even as a kid. And I didn't even know that I was doing it. But everything started to come true of what I wanted or what I would put on a vision board. Right down to my very first car. The color, the type, everything.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
But how do you know all these details when you are at point A and you're going to point B?
I think it was a little bit with how I was raised. Like, my mother definitely didn't understand manifestation. She understood religion, right? So when we talk about like universe, God, like whoever you speak to. But she was very adamant on, I was never allowed to use the word hate. Like, oh, I hate that, or I hate her, or, I hate that. No.
It's too strong.
It's negative. It's too strong. That comes from somewhere. I don't even know if she knew where that came from. But that comes from somewhere of staying positive and always being thankful and grateful. Like as a kid, like stupid things, Olena, like I used to try to pick up my crayons with my feet, right? And like, and she would say, don't do that because God has blessed you with 2 hands.
That's a good one.
Do you know what I mean? So like she did her own like manifestation that obviously I took on, and just silly little things. I couldn't even talk. I don't know how old are you when you can't talk? Like 2? And she put me in this like little it was a blue Corvette, and it was like a child's Corvette, but it had like a full like motor in it, and it was a raffle. And she put me in the Corvette, and I sat, and I don't remember this. She told me the story. I sat there with my hand on the steering wheel, and I was saying, moi, 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 mine. And 3 days later, I won the car. Like the power of manifestation is insane. So this is why I say, write it down, look at it. What do you want?
So it comes back to working with yourself again. It's
completely.
Self-love, listening to yourself, know your true desires, and dig deep.
Yeah.
Not just in general, but...
And remove the toxicity from around you. You are like the 3 most people that you surround yourself with. You take on their energy, their traits, their attitudes. Get rid of the bad people. Fire them. Fire them. I have fired a lot of friends. And because when you spend time with these people, you come home and you're like, oh my God, that was exhausting. I don't know if I can do that again. Those people do not serve you. They suck everything from you. Surround yourself with good people, people that clap for you, people that support you. And what I say is, don't tell me what people said behind my back. Tell me what you told them when you heard them talking about me. That's what I want to know. Don't tell me what they said. I don't care. I actually don't want to know, because that's negativity being brought into my life. But what I would like to know is what you said when they were saying that. Because if you said nothing, you might as well have been a part of that conversation.
And when this phrase came in your life that you are saying, what happened in your life that this...
Cancer.
Cancer.
I think cancer was a big part of it. I also had people in my life that they did speak very negatively about people that were within our circle. And I was coming from a place of protecting those people. Like, oh, I don't know why you're saying that. She's such a good person. Why do you have a problem with her? Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, she did this, this, and this. Good for her. I wish I could do that. And they were coming back with like attacks on this person. And I thought I was doing a favor, a service as a friend, defending her. But what I should have done is, I am no longer engaging in this conversation. And if you don't stop, then I will tell her that this is what you're saying. Because when we're all together, you're not saying these things.
Mhm.
So me being a part of that conversation allowed that negativity to go back and forth when that negativity and that energy should have been cut off for me. That's a big part that I think people don't understand. Right? If you engage in it, even though you're not saying anything negative, but it's still like a tennis match going back and forth, you are engaging in it.
But it again brings to the circle of self. The more you know yourself, the more you understand, the more you're clear with yourself. We are lost so much in social media, in everyday routine, that we don't spend enough time with ourselves. We are worried about somebody else, something else, but not us.
First thing in the morning, I grab a cup of coffee, I go back to bed, and I do morning meditation all by myself. I write in my book, journal of what's important for that day, what's important for the year, what's important for the month, where I want to be, what are the top 3 things that need to be accomplished today, and the same thing at night. Earplugs in, meditation, what am I grateful for? What happened today that I am excited about? Where attention goes, energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be alone. You can't be afraid to be alone. You need time with your thoughts, and you need time with your journal, and you need time with your goals. Or else your cup is empty. You are tired. And that's when people start to annoy you. Or, they need something from me again. I don't have time for this. I'm so busy. You're like that because you are not fulfilled yourself. Your cup needs to be full in order for you to fill other people's cups.